Hello and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell, I have just woken up and I've got weekend t-shirt on because it is the weekend today. I don't know when the video will go out, but today is Sunday and I really fancy shakshuka. And I've got this thing in mind where I want to add a couple of extra things in the shakshuka and see how it goes. So I'm very excited to cook brunch today and I thought I will share it with you. Excuse the mess, but I'm gonna start cooking, not waste any more time. Before that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. So I'm going to get a nice big pan. Now I'm taking a big pan because I'm cooking for 4 and I want enough space to break the eggs. That's how, and that's the reason I've chosen a bigger surface pan than the other normal pans I use. So yeah, I'm going to get this nice and hot first. And while that pan is heating up, I've got a nice size onion. If you're taking smaller onions, take 2. And I'm just going to roughly chop it up. Okay, in goes a little bit of oil, 2 to 3 tablespoons. I'm going to add a teaspoon of cumin seeds. Give it a second before adding the onions. So what I'm looking to do is get them nicely golden, and that is going to take around 8 to 10 minutes. And while that's happening, I'm going to chop up some garlic, lots of it. So I've got here like 5 cloves and I'm just going to thinly slice them. So I don't want any more color, so I'm just going to add in the garlic now because that's enough color, like a nice golden. Now I'm just going to let this cook for a couple of minutes. So next you can use a normal pepper, red pepper, but I want to use up, I've got these long peppers, I want to use them up, so I am just going to thinly slice these 2 as well. And I want to give this 5 minutes as well. So after 5 minutes, kind of gets a little bit of color. I'm going to add a tin of 400 grams of chopped tomatoes. You can use 4 to 5 fresh tomatoes instead as well. Now I want to cook this down. I want the tomatoes to be cooked through. So I'm going to cover the lid and let this cook for 10 minutes. If you are using fresh tomatoes, then you need to cook it for a bit longer because these are tin tomatoes. They don't need more than 10 minutes of cooking. And it doesn't have too much liquid in right now, which is absolutely fine because the next thing I'm going to add is some fresh spinach. So I'm going to be using around 150 to 200 grams of fresh spinach. Now I've given it a wash and I'm just going to chop it up. I don't want such big leaves, so I'm going to chop it as finely as I possibly can. And then this is going to go straight in the tomatoes. I'm saying 150 to 200 because if you don't want too much spinach, just go for 150. That is, I'm leaving that to your personal preference and taste. And also going in is a tin, which is 400 grams tin of borlotti beans. If you don't want borlotti beans, you have a tin of some sort of green lentils. If you have, trying to think, maybe a tin of chickpeas or red kidney beans, but borlotti beans are quite nice and creamy and they go really well with this dish. So everything in, I'm just going to add a splash of boiling water to this, just a splash. So that is 100 ml of boiling water. And now I'm going to cover and cook this for 10 minutes. That looks so good, doesn't it? And while that is cooking, I'm just quickly going to slice up some lovely sourdough that I got from my local bakery. You can serve it with some pita bread or some normal white bread. Obviously my favorite is sourdough, so I am going to stick with this. It's time for adding in some more flavor to this. So I have got here some salt. So I'm going to add just a little less than a teaspoon of salt. Next, a good heaped teaspoon of ground cumin. And stuff that I love, 2 teaspoons of harissa paste. If you can't find harissa paste, you can use basically you could use a little bit of garam masala. They are not the same at all, but I know some of you might say, or use a bit of chili oil. That is fine too, and give it everything. That's one bean flying over. And now this stuff is ready for the eggs. Oh my god. If you want to keep it vegan, vegetarian, this is it when you stop. But obviously I'm here for shakshuka, which has to have eggs. So I'm just going to make some room, reduce the heat a bit more, and then crack open some eggs in here. Do 1 egg per person, depending on what your family like or you like if you're cooking for yourself. Oh shit, I broke. Oh, sorry guys, sorry. Broke the yolk. Silly me. It's better. Okay, so now I'm going to cover and cook this for 6 minutes. Now I'm trying something different, so I am going to add, just get some Greek yogurt, which is nice and thick, in a bowl. Just enough for like 4 people, enough for the dish, which is around 5 to 6 tablespoons right here. I'm going to add a couple of things to it. The chili oil that I made on the channel here a few weeks ago, I have only got, was it 2 weeks ago? I've only got 1 tablespoon left, which means I need to remake it. We've been eating it with absolutely everything, on sandwiches, curries, rice. Right, come in. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of the chili oil, homemade, a little sprinkling of salt, and give it a mix. Oh, this is going to be delicious. Right guys, 6 minutes are up. Whoa. Right, I'm going to move it here a bit more light where my yogurt is waiting. And then lovely yogurt on top. And then just some chopped up coriander. And then some bread. Right. Bit of this and some yogurt. Oh my god. That yogurt and the spinach and the beans. Just wow. Please try this. Let me know your thoughts. I have to sit down and eat this. Bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe.